This is a demonstration of exercise S28, preparing a trial balance. Samson floor coverings reported the following summarized data at December 31st, 2018. The accounts appear in no particular order and all have normal balances. And the problem gives us several accounts, and then it asks us to prepare a trial balance of Samson floor coverings at December 31st, 2018. So I have over here what is the beginnings of a trial balance. So we have our title, Samson floor coverings, trial balance as of December 31st, 2018. And we're going to start off. And remember that when we do our trial balance, we want to do it in the order normally that the accounts would appear in the general ledger. And so if you have problems determining the general ledger, you need to go back to chapter 2 and look at a chart of accounts. But you'll see that the accounts are going to go in this order. You're going to have assets first, then liabilities, then your stockholders' equity accounts and dividends, and then you'll start with your revenues and your expenses. So when you do your trial balance and the accounts are mixed up as they are in this problem, you may need to go through and number them first, or determine what am I going to be starting with and what is next, so that when you put these in, they'll be in the correct order. We start off, of course, when in our general ledger, our cash account is always going to be first. Now, part of this problem is also to test whether or not you know what the normal balance is for these accounts. So remember, your assets account are all going to have a normal debit balance. So cash would be a debit. Accounts receivable would be the next account in the list, and it has a normal debit balance of $3,600. Next, when we're looking down through there, we see the next asset appears to be equipment. So that one we will also have a normal debit balance. Okay, so that appears to be all of the assets that are listed there. So we're going to start with our liabilities. And you can do the liabilities in a different order, but it's usually a good idea to keep them like they would be on the balance sheet, and those would be usually the same way in the general ledger. So we would start out with accounts payable, and that is a normal credit balance. Next would be salaries payable, $25,000, normal credit balance. And then the last one is interest payable, and that has a normal credit balance, and it's $6,000. Okay, so that was all of our assets, all of our liabilities. So next we're going to go to the equity account. So the equity account we usually start with first is common stock. Remember, equity accounts also have a normal credit balance. There is no retained earnings listed, so we don't have those. So we go to our next account will be dividends. Dividends has a normal debit balance because it decreases retained earnings when it's closed. Okay, then after we've completed those are the balance sheet, and dividends is a temporary account and goes into the statement of retained earnings. We're going to start with our income statement accounts. The first one would be our revenue. So that would be service revenue, and that's got a normal credit balance. So it goes in the credit column. And then we're going to start with our expenses. Now, you don't have to include the expenses in the order that they would be at on the income statement, but it's not a bad idea to do it that way. So start with your largest ones, rent expense, and that would be $17,000. And remember, your expenses are all going to have a normal debit balance. Then we can go to our utilities expense, and that has a $1,900 debit balance. And the last one that we have is our salaries expense, and that's $1,600. Now, what this spreadsheet has been doing as I've been recording these is it's been keeping a running total, updating it. So this is actually a column total for this column, which is $83,200, and this is a column total for the credit column, and it's $83,200. And that's what we want when we're doing our trial balance, because the purpose of the trial balance is to make sure that our debits and our credits equal. So that is the conclusion of the demonstration for exercise S2H.